All right. Let us start. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame bhante bhuri panya tathagata kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame dhamma sandhitika akalika kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame sangha supatipana anuttara sa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tisarana-gamanang paripunang, Panatipata veramani Sikkapadang samadhiyami. Adina dana veramani Sikkapadang samadhiyami. Abrahmacharya veramani Sikkapadang samadhiyami. Musawada veramani Sikkapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapamadatthana veramani Sikkapadang samadhiyami. Vikala bhojana veramani Sikkapadang samadhiyami. Nacha Gita Vadita Visukadasana Malaganda Vilepana Dharana Mandana Vibhusanatthana Veramani Sikkapadang samadhiyami. Uchasayana Mahasayana Veramani Sikkapadang samadhiyami. idang me silam maga pala nyanasa pachayo hotu appamadena sampadeta sa sa. We open the tree window. All right. Never mind. Let us start. Now let us sit here, wherever you are. Let us relax. Relax the body. Relax the body. Relax the mind. Keep the mind peaceful, calm, and clear. Present. And let the body relax from top of the head down to the forehead, to the face and neck, shoulders and arms, chest, stomach, back, spine, hips, the buttock, the thighs, the knees, calf, ankles, soles, toes. Relax the body. But keep the mind open, calm, and peaceful. May I be free from all kinds of harm and danger. Free from all mental suffering. Free from all physical suffering. May I be peaceful. May I be well. And may I truly be happy. May I be free from all kinds of harm and danger. Free from all mental suffering. Free from all physical suffering. May I be peaceful. May I be well and healthy. And may I truly be happy. Let us expand the metta. Let us expand the metta, reaching out to all the beings here, humans or non-humans, monks or nuns, yogis, helpers, volunteers, workers, donors or supporters, to all the guardian devas of this center, to all other devas around here. To all the petas, to all the animals, big or small, seen or unseen. May all beings here be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May we all be peaceful. May we all be well. And may we all truly be happy. May all of us here be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May we all be peaceful, be well and healthy, and may all of us here truly be happy. Now let us expand. Let us expand the metta to all beings in this country. May they be humans or non-humans. May they be devas or petas, animals big or small, far or near, seen or unseen. May all beings in this country be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. And may all beings truly be happy. May all beings in this country be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. And may all beings truly be happy. Now let us expand. Let us expand the metta, suffuse the metta to all the beings in this world. May they be humans or non-humans. May they be our loved ones near or far away. May they be may they be those whom we do not know wherever they are. And to those whom we dislike or those who dislike us. To all the guardian devas of the sasana. All other devas residing in this world. All the petas and all the animals, big or small, seen or unseen, far or near. May all beings in this world be free from all kinds of harm and danger. Be free from all mental suffering. Free from all physical suffering. May all beings in this world, may they all able to live in peace and not in war. Live with kindness and compassion, and not in cruelty. May all beings be well, be healthy, and may all beings truly be happy. May all beings in this world be free from all kinds of harm and danger. Free from all mental suffering. Free from all physical suffering. May they all be peaceful, be well and healthy, and may all beings truly be happy. Now let us spread. Let us spread the metta without boundary, without condition, to all beings without exception. To all beings in this universe or universes. To all beings from the highest planes of existence down to the lowest plane of existence. To all the beings in all the world systems. May all beings be free from all kinds of harm and danger. Free from all mental suffering. Free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful, able to live in harmony with themselves and in harmony with others. May all beings be well, be healthy, and may all beings truly be happy. May all beings be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful, may they all be well, and may all beings truly be happy. May all beings be peaceful, may they all be well, and may all beings truly be happy. Now let us let go. Let go of the metta. Bring the mind back again to the body. Feel the rise and fall of the abdomen. Feel the body in the present. Then we can slowly open our eyes. Hold on now, everyone. All right. So yesterday. Yesterday. So yesterday we were talking about the factor of the Viriya as a factor of enlightenment. And I said that this Viriya, when it comes into the practice, then here there are three different levels of Viriya. One is the initial Viriya, initial element, Arambadhatu, the initial element. Then the second one is the, what do I translate now? Exertion, step up, step up. Then the third one, there's a persistent or the exertion, I think. So sometimes this one translator translate a little bit differently. What I meant over here, as I said, that the first type of Viriya, or the element, the initial element is that you have to strive and you have to push in the beginning part of the practice. There's not much of mindfulness, there's not much of concentration, there's not much of precision of noticing and so on. Then you push the mind. Walk, sit, walk, sit, walk, sit, walk, sit, walk, sit, precisely, carefully, until you build up a substantial amount of clarity. With that building up, During this time, your hindrances be getting less. It's get less, or it's not so strong. It's not so strong. It's easier. It's able to manage. Then, when we need to later part, as we go into the number of days, we need to also overcome or face to them directly, have to, so that you can able to overcome all these type of hindrances. That one, it's the second type of effort, the step up effort. Sometimes it's not just these hindrances, but the anger, frustration, fear, all that comes in, whether from our senses or from the mind, then we deal with them. So when we deal with them, we take a lot of effort also in order to overcome them. So overcoming them is not by suppressing. Overcoming them is about arousing that mindfulness, arousing the wholesome mental states, or arousing the skillful ways in order for us to overcome the hindrance for that particular period of time. Sloth and torpor, or drowsiness, dullness and drowsiness. This one, especially what we need is the effort. Particularly all these things, we need the effort. So when we're able to do that, then the next one is the element of exertion or persistence. That means that you keep the momentum going, you keep the noting mind going, day after day after day after day after day. As long as your retreat is here, you keep it the momentum going. To keep this momentum going, then again here, you must have the skills so that the mind does not overexert itself, and also the mind doesn't underexert, become too relaxed. You have to let that development carry on. All you need to just know how much to do and how much not to do. So these are the type of effort that we are going through. Now, yesterday also, as I said, we touched upon that sloth and torpor. The sloth and torpor here, they can be very difficult. So yesterday I used the word, the Pali word is tina mida. So as I said again, sometimes the tina becomes clearer, sometimes mida becomes clearer. Whichever it is, as long as you know how to note them, then fine. Just to show you that even the tina mida, even this sloth and torpor, they have a different shades, different characteristics, slightly different characteristic. And it's interesting for us to know about its different characteristics. To pick up on that different characteristic, then again here, the mind will become more sensitive to it when it comes up in the future. That means it comes in this way, you also know. It tricks you in another way, you also know. It tricks you another way, you also know. So they are very tricky, these hindrances. So that's why it is good that in a long-term retreat, we pay attention to all these subtle aspects of the hindrances. Not just only Not just only how to walk, sit, walk, sit, walk, sit. But the subtle aspect of the hindrances is good for us to pick up their characteristic. Because once you're able to pick up their characteristic, you know how to deal with them. Because if you do not know that they are around the corner, that means they are going to slowly overwhelm your clarity of your mind. Then the whole noting mind become discontinuous, become break here, break there, then not much of progress. So we take note of its small little characteristic. So as I said, to take note of its characteristic, we need at least like more or less like 50% of your clarity of your mind to be there. At least there's a 50% chance that you can able to overcome them. So if you're able to do that, then this time the labeling also become very important to the yogi. In the sense that the labeling aspect itself, it's also part of arousing the effort. Because it's part of what we call the vitaka. It arouses that effort. You keep on hitting onto it, then it's good. Then when we able to take note of these things, when we begin to take note of the sloth and torpor that arises, then also I mentioned that one must also learn to accept them as they arise. Because these things, they will come frequently, every day in fact, sometimes more, sometimes less. Some yogis are impatient of progress, we know. When they're impatient of progress, sometimes they get frustrated when these type of hindrances coming in. They thought that these hindrances is just going to hinder their practice. After all, the hindrances, but in the Satipatthana, in the fourth type of Satipatthana, we change the hindrances into a meditation object, into a mental object. And understanding this sloth and torpor is to understand what are the conditions that give rise to the sloth and torpor, and also what are the conditions that it will disappear, what are the conditions that is going to be there, and what are the conditions in the future that it will not arise. That means the skill must be there. That means you must be able to understand your own practice thoroughly, so that when you deal with this sloth and torpor, in the future, because of the skills that you have, then this sloth and torpor comes in a shorter duration. It comes in a shorter duration, shorter time. Previously, you may have to deal with it like 45 minutes, half an hour. This time, it gets less, 20, 15, 5, 1 minute, 2 minutes, few seconds. Just by acknowledging it, it's already gone. And it is interesting, because here it gets shorter and shorter, but you still come once in a while, it gets longer, it gets shorter, and so on. So it's good that for us to able to deal with them. So we must able to accept them. And we must able to accept them, just shift the mind, change the mind into noting them. Try not to suppress them. Try not to suppress them with all kinds of wrong ways. Like, for example, with our pride. We try to keep the body still, suppress it, don't want to make the body moving, and so on. Because that maybe other people may see us, and so on. So these type of things that we have to be careful. You know? All right. Then, so once we learn to accept them as they are, then the next thing is that we learn to overcome them. We learn to overcome them. And then again, overcoming them, it means that sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to have a hard time. Or sometimes you're going to win, then immediately you're going to lose again. Then you win again, then you lose again, maybe within a sitting. Maybe, for example, you sit there, then you try this, try that, oh, everything become clear. 15 minutes later, it come again. Then you try, oh, everything become clear. Then it come again. Oh, wow. You see lah, how much your tolerance you can take. How much patience you're going to have. You know, it's going to poke you here and there until you, so these things during a yogi's meditation, it can happen. Sometimes you just note them a few times, you already overcome it, then well and good. Yeah. So here again, the principle here is arousing that, re-arousing that effort again. Together with the effort, you must arouse that mindfulness. Because the mindfulness, it's important. If you don't have the mindfulness, sometimes when you re-arouse the effort again, you're going to overshoot. Then instead from sleepy, then you overshoot until thinking. So where's the middle path? The middle part here is where the mindfulness comes in. So the arousing of that effort must comes together with the mindfulness. So the mindfulness here, it helps to balance the mind so that the mind doesn't go overshoot into too much effort. Now, yesterday I mentioned, in order to arouse the effort, using the way of vipassana we have to go face to face with the drowsiness, with the sleepiness. You notice its characteristic. You notice it's dark, heavy, or whether it's your noting mind begin to deep, the strength of your noting mind begin to deep, or your mind becomes like blurry, you notice that something is not right anymore. Things are not clear anymore. So you begin to pick up its characteristic. So you drop your whatever object that you are doing, then this time becomes clear. You pay attention to it. Sleepy, drowsy. Yeah? And this time, you note them with labeling. You also note them slightly more faster than usual. Yeah? Slightly more faster. That means you note them drowsy. In order, again, here is another area how you stir up the mental effort. To stir up the mental effort. So you take note, you stir it up with your labeling, you stir it up with the faster noting, and you pay attention to its characteristic. While you pay attention to its characteristic, the characteristic will change. The characteristic will change. The characteristic, sometimes it becomes stronger. That means the sleepiness becomes stronger, become heavier, become dull, or sometimes it begins to move your body, your head especially, or your back perhaps. Sometimes the sloth and torpor comes in without moving the head or the body. It's just internally you are drowsy on it. but your body meditation still sitting quite straight. Nothing out there. Nobody know that you are sleepy or no. You're still quite straight. Maybe a bit or sometimes droop a little bit only, but not moving. People thought that no, still okay. Others lah, but internally, your mind is already dull already. So here, what you do is that you note them. You note its characteristics. You note how it changed. So by noting it, to see how it changed, to what is going on, then that time you also noticing the characteristic, the changing of the characteristic. That means you begin to, in a way, you're investigating what is going on with that drowsiness. So that investigating, together with that mindfulness, then the mind slowly begin to overcome the sloth and torpor, because mindfulness is coming up from the background. So by mindfulness coming up from the background, it begin to overcome that sloth and torpor. Now, if your mindfulness and your noting mind is sharp and strong, then that sloth and torpor goes quite fast. If that if that noting is not that strong, then it's going to take you a longer period of time. Yeah? It's all a matter of how strong your wholesome mental states right now. So here you are re-arousing, using the effort, re-arousing that mindfulness, re-arousing that investigation, then the whole mind becomes clear. So it's good that if you can able to do that. As much as I talk over here, sometimes it may take you a talk or two, but all you need to do is do it few seconds only, then things over already. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes a few seconds, things over already. But the thing is that you must know how to do it. If you do not know how to do it, then a bit difficult. I don't mind spend 1 hour for you just to do few seconds. I don't mind to talk for 1 hour to make sure that it goes into your head. Because after all, every retreat, you're going to do it anyway. You're going to have sleepiness anyway. So when we deal with that, so we pay attention to it until it kind of like starts to fade off. Now, this way, I don't recommend for yogis to come for the first day or second day or third day. This time also it's good that a yogi have some good maturity in the mental development. Maybe after 10 days or 2 weeks, you can try and see whether this one will work for you or not. Because in the deeper level of vipassana, normally yogis use this way, because all you need to do is just pay attention to it. The mindfulness will do all the thing for you. So this one, looks easy, but it's not easy, because most of the time the sloth and torpor is so much more stronger than the mindfulness. So you have to let it go through that part. Anyway, next. Now, if you cannot do this way, then we arouse that mindfulness and the investigation through another way. And here we use the sitting and touching. Okay, we use the sitting and touching. Now, using the sitting and touching, here the using and sitting and touching is that here again, you must aware of your sleepiness first. You know that the sleepiness is there, but this time you don't go directly noting it, but you bring the attention to the touching, let's say at the hands here. Here again, you use the same principle. Label it, note it a bit more faster. Touching, 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 touching. And pick up a characteristic. Just 1 or 2 characteristics within that fast noting, and able just to note a characteristic or two. Picking up the characteristic is important, because just picking up that characteristic right now, you are already arousing that mindfulness. If sometimes yogis, they tend to do touching, sitting, touching, sitting, the mind is faster. The mind is faster, but they are not picking up the characteristic. This is where the overexertion can take place later on. Now you're going to note like touching, sitting, touching. But you don't pick up any characteristic. And when you do it more longer, then the effort was going to go overshoot, because it doesn't come with mindfulness. So you go overshoot. Perhaps it may happen to you that when you're sitting down, the whole mind become very bright. So bright, no more sleepiness, but you cannot note anything. It's just bright. So it's just bright, it's just clear, but you're not able to note anything else. So until that brightness, more or less, and kind of cool down a little bit, then only they can able to start noting, because the mind comes into its balance again. So here you must learn to pick up a characteristic or two. Now, so you pick up a characteristic from sitting, touching, a bit more creative, Sometimes you do it clockwise, sometimes you do it anti-clockwise, sometimes you completely change all the touching points, or the area or the points that you normally take. So you take other areas, completely another area. Just make sure that the mind works. All you need to do is make sure that the mind works. When the mind works, it brings out that clarity of the mind. Sometimes it comes to the evening. It comes to the evening and body gets a bit tired. If your mindfulness is good, if your mindfulness is clear, you can actually sometimes prevent the sloth and torpor from coming in. Because the tiredness, it can condition the mind to go into sleepy a bit. Sometimes with a good clarity of the mind, it can just keep it aside for a short while, for a while, maybe an hour or two. But after that, when the body becomes too tired, also no matter what you do, also sleepy. You want to meditate, also drowsy already at that time. But that time of drowsiness, actually, sometimes when I look at it, it's not really sloth. It's not really in the sense of sloth and torpor. It's not in the sense of sloth and torpor. Because in the sense of sloth and torpor, it comes with the laziness of mind. Then it makes you drowsy, makes you sleepy. The mind just don't want to do anything, just there. But there are sloth and torpor. No, sorry. That there are drowsiness that is not because of the laziness of the mind. The drowsiness comes in because of the tiredness of the body. There are drowsiness that comes in because you take medication. The Buddha or the Arahants also, they have this type of drowsiness where the body becomes tired. They also get drowsy, but this is not sloth and torpor. They get tired. But here, when we deal with this type of sloth and torpor, it's because of that laziness of the mind is at the behind it. It's behind it. When the sloth and torpor is not so strong, that means you don't feel any type of actually drowsy but the mind just like that only doesn't want to note, Just want to relax. Sit there, relax. Relax for a while. It tell you all kinds of things just to drop the whole noting on there. It's just drop the whole thing. But you're not sleepy, You're just relaxing on it. That is also part of sloth and torpor. Uh, but that is also part of sloth and torpor. In a minor manner. So all you need to do is just detect it, aware of it, then okay. Sometimes it comes as boredom. You nothing, nothing, nothing. Sian you just relax, nothing. Sometimes yogis, they they sit down, they sit down, just waiting for the time to ring on here. There's not much pain, there's not much rising and falling, there's not much thought, there's not much, other words, there's not much anything, but it's just sit there. How come the time still not ringing yet? Just sit there. No pain, no, this time. I mean, pain, we understand you begin, but this time also no pain, nothing much, it's just sit there. So you be careful. This is already sloth and torpor coming in, not in the sense of drowsiness, but in the sense of laziness of the mind. Yeah, a sense of laziness of the mind. Yeah. So take note of those things. Now, we're back again to the heavier type of sloth and torpor. The heaviest type of sloth and torpor, you actually have to note them. Other words, you note the sitting and touching. If you able to overcome it, overcome the sloth and torpor, then well and good. Sometimes cannot, if the sitting is if the sloth and torpor too strong, if the drowsiness too strong, then get up. Get up and walk, or get up and do standing meditation. Yeah? And again, when you notice the sloth and torpor, sometimes you get up also because of the laziness of the mind, the body also feels lazy to get up. So might as well sit there and sleep, sit there and rest. It just feels lazy, it feels heavy. Because of the sloth and torpor, it conditions the body. It feels not, the body feels heavy. So when the body feels heavy, you feel reluctant. So here again, you must push the body to get up and do a bit of walking meditation. Yeah? So this is one way. Yeah? Now another way is this. Another way is, this one is a bit more tricky. The way of noticing how the body reacts, how the body is being conditioned by the sloth and torpor. Okay, how the body is being conditioned by the sloth and torpor. Noticing this, the conditioning aspect of this mind and body, how they interact now. One of the things is where you're able to notice within the sloth and torpor itself. Yeah? Now, here you sit down. You sit down and then sloth and torpor arises. And drowsiness arises. When the drowsiness arises, your body tends to move. That means the head tends to droop, or the body tries to bend forward, or the bend sideways. Yeah? That swinging of the body, or that, not to say swinging, that movement of the body or the head, you must not regard it as something, very mundane. It is part of, because it's conditioned by the sloth and torpor. So here the sloth and torpor doing something, it's affecting the body. So you, like a meditator, you gotta like step back and to see this process taking place. How these two things are actually affecting each other, or one is affecting the other. Okay, so what you should do is that you note sleepy, 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 sleepy. Then you note drooping, 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 moving, 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 moving. Then sleepiness clear. Sometimes sleepiness clear, the head automatically is straightened back again. Or sometimes you notice sleepy, 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 drowsy, drowsy. The body tends to go further, 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 bend a little bit. If it's somewhere in between, the drowsiness disappear, then you notice that the body will start going back to a straight again. So in other words, you are noticing the mind and the body together in that sense, to see how they are react, how they are conditioning each other. So just don't try to suppress that body movement. Yeah. Because if you suppress that body movement, if you don't want the body to do all these type of things, then you got to be careful. Yeah? You got to be careful because at a lot of times it could be your pride is coming in, or you think that this is not the right thing, or you're not able to accept that the body is moving a little bit here and there. So you need to pay attention to it. Sloth and torpor really brings down the whole effort. When it brings down the effort, the whole body sometimes can really drop, 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 drop until the head touch the floor. You can drop until the head touch the floor. Even you do yoga also, you cannot do that. Some of you. But when it's sleepy, somehow the body head also can touch the floor. Because the body become very soft. Become very soft. Then you can get up again. Then keep on noting it, noting until everything clear. This one is a bit tricky, as I said. Tricky in the sense that you really have to be fully aware of how the body and mind works. But again, here, we are not meditating alone. We are meditating with a lot of people. And sometimes others don't understand what is going on within you. Sometimes some people kind enough try to pull you up to make you straight. There are people like that. They are trying to pull you up. But actually, you're still noting. And this is how sometimes you have to completely surrender and pay attention to how the body and mind react. And this is how we see dependent origination, how one thing gives rise to another thing. And sometimes also, when you notice drowsiness also, drowsy, it doesn't mean that it just comes with drowsiness. Sometimes it comes in all kinds of imagination, all kinds of like daydreaming type of thoughts. The thoughts are still like flickering a little bit here and there, but it's not a strong thought, but it's a very light flickering here and there. Like you're just daydreaming, daydreaming, floating through. You know that you are drowsy, but you know that the thoughts are going through. So it's good because you know drowsiness, you see the drowsiness and the thoughts coming together at this time. So pay attention. There are so many areas already to notice the drowsiness. Don't go and look for it. Don't go and wait for it tomorrow to come. It will come. When it comes, you go and pay attention to it. When it comes, you pay attention to it. All you need to do, as I said here, these are skills only. All you need to do is just try a few times, develop that skills. Once you know that skills, it will be with you kind of like for a long period of time. And with that, we use with that, slowly, we develop other forms of skills. So you pay attention to it. Now, in the walking meditation, sometimes also there will be drowsiness. Drowsiness here, during the walking meditation, is not as frequently as the sitting meditation. But nevertheless, they come. So when they come, you have to, the walking meditation is easier because you can change your speed. Yeah. All you need to do is change your speed and also change object from the primary object to the secondary object. Sometimes stay with the secondary object for a longer period of time because it helps to re-arouse back the mindfulness. Sometimes we get quite, yogis get quite, bored with just right step, left step, right step, left step. Uh, that boredom, when comes in, it can comes in together with the drowsiness a little bit. The mind just lazy to note something, and you just let it go like that, and you don't not careful with it, then later part it goes into drowse, more heavier state of mind, or it goes into a lot of thinking. So when it happens in this way, try change to a secondary object. Take note of the secondary object and stay with the secondary object. It could be the movement of your thighs, movement of your hips, movement of your shoulders, or you can take the whole body itself. You can take the whole body and then just walk. Just walk. Just walk the normal speed, the particular speed that you are going through, but take a different object. Here again, taking a different object is just to make the body, just to make the mind exercise, to exercise the mind. To exercise the mind. So this is a few things that what a yogi can do. Now, other skillful ways, like also the Buddha says to overcome it, at least not from a way of vipassana, not from a way of samatha, but this one is just using your physical effort a little bit. Like for example, the Buddha also mentioned about washing the face mindfully. So drowsy, just wash the face. Sometimes it feels refreshed again. Then this drowsiness clear. Then good. Then also the Buddha also mentioned that do walking, but walking in a bright area, sitting also in a brighter area. The brighter area is helpful for the yogis if you are having a lot of drowsiness. Sometimes yogis tend to love very dim lit area because very soothing to the eyes. Sometimes their own home, they turn off many lights, just a few small little light. Every time they sit, why is so sleepy? Why my meditation is not picking up at home? Yeah, because sometimes it could be because of the lighting, one of the reasons. So it's good that we meditate in a more brighter area. For me, for many years, during in the retreat, when the sun shines only, then only my mind bright. If the sun hasn't come up from the horizon yet, still 50% drowsy, 50% trying to note the drowsiness until the sun come up already, bright already the sun. Then good. Then when the sun go down again, then coming again. But then usually end of the day, it doesn't have that much of a problem because throughout the day, you already build it up already. You already build it up, build it up, build it up, build it up. Then towards the evening, the mindfulness and the power of the mind is strong at that time. So you can just prevent that drowsiness from coming in. But the morning part, you still cannot do anything about it. Anyway, so this is one of the things. Now, another way is dealing with it with the samatha way of doing. Samatha way of doing here doesn't mean that you have to go to jhana. But of course, if you have all the right jhana, then you don't have to worry about hindrances that much. Because you already gao-dim that during in your samatha meditation before you come into jhana. Before you come into actual jhana, you have to deal with all the sloth and torpor already and all the hindrances. So when if you have those jhana, then well and good, fine. Because those jhana itself, they are the mental factors. Those mental factors are so powerful that it prevent all the hindrances from coming in. So you don't have to worry about dealing with sloth and torpor. But here, since most of us may not have samatha background, maybe we can try a few things. One of the things that the Buddha recommend is the perception of light. The perception of light. Just now, as I said, perception of light is through the physical form, in the sense that you sit in the more brighter areas, you walk in the more brighter areas, then it helps to overcome the sleepiness, drowsiness. But here also, you recreate lights in the mind. Most of the time when we do vipassana meditation, when we say that when the lights come in to your meditation, you note brightness, brightness, or light, 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 color, color, color. Sometimes it comes as color. Now, when it happens in that way, we take note of those things, and then after that, we leave it back again to the more bodily objects. Fine. But you will notice that when this type of colors and brightness comes in to your meditation, there's no drowsiness. There's no drowsiness during that time. So what you need to do is just remember, recall some bright situation, bright places that you have gone before, or you just imagine something that is bright. To me, it's like we're back in Penang. There's a lot of beaches over there, and we go to the beach in like 3 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon, right at the sun is the most powerful. No clouds, nothing. Then that whole area is so bright. For me, it's just to remember that all my drowsiness gone. Because so bright. Or sometimes you just imagine that you're looking at the sun. Imagine you're looking at the sun. Or looking at the lights or something, something bright. And then all you need to do is just remember that, recall it. Enough for the drowsiness to disappear. Then drop the imagination, drop the colors and so on, drop it away, back again to the rising and falling, the sitting and touching. Yeah. And it's helpful. It's helpful. Don't do it too long, as long as you don't make sure you don't attach to the imagination. Not biggie, it's from sleepiness to imagine and then imagine. Then you go on the path of imagination. Then that is another problem. So all you need to do is that you use this type of brightness in order just to navigate the mind through the sloth and torpor. Then the mind clears again. Everything is good. Sometimes some yogis tend to do what? But Bhante, you see, when I think a lot also, I also don't feel sleepy. So can I think or not during that time? I think of something like that. Cannot, you cannot do that. Because the thinking, you're going to go into restless mind. So from sloth and torpor, you're going to run into the restless mind. So that also is not right, So you cannot use an unwholesome state of mind just to cover another unwholesome state of mind. Then it's not going to work. So again, here is always must use a skillful ways of doing things. Now, the Buddha also mentioned that sometimes it's like sleepiness also, they recall. They recall like texts that you have read before, the suttas or the chanting that you have done before. If certain chanting, for example, you know how to do the chanting, and if you know the meaning, the Buddha also recommended that we do a mental chanting or a verbal chanting. But of course, a verbal chanting here may not be very suitable because you're going to disturb other yogis. But if let's say you're meditating alone that time and you're going through some degree of this one, then sometimes this verbal chanting can be very helpful. Or mental chanting also can be very helpful. At the same time, you understand it's this one. So it's another skillful way just to navigate it through. But again, here you got to be careful. Again, don't do it too much. If you do it too much, then the chanting won't stop. You sit down, all the sloth and topper clear. Nam na 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 iti piso na 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 na. Then you cannot stop again. Then another problem. Yeah. So it's the same thing. Sometimes you recall certain suttas and certain thing, then this is good. Now, another way is to, in the samatha, also another way is to do the contemplation on death. Contemplation on death. Here, the contemplation on death is the stirring up the sense of urgency, to stir up that sense of urgency. Yeah? Like, for example, when you sit down, then there's drowsy, and then you divert the mind out and think of, I'm not sure when I'm going to die. I know death will come. I'm very sure death will come, but I do not know when it's going to come. I do not know when sickness is going to come. Because if those things come, I cannot meditate anymore, right? Then sometimes you reflect on it in your own way in order to stir up the sense of urgency. But if you have to be careful with doing these things again, because if you do this wrongly, then it's going to boomerang back in the sense of you're getting more and more fear. Basilia. Then you're getting kechut, you say cannot really. How? Then you become fearful. And that fearful is not the right way of how we do the contemplation anymore. It's just like when you have lights. If the lights become beautiful, if you're not mindful, you can attach to it. Then you go into a wrong path. So too when you do contemplation of death, if you don't do it in the right way, the right way is that you contemplate, then it brings up that urgency. It stirs up the mind, it stirs up the heart. Then the mind becomes alert. And because of that alertness, you overcome that drowsiness. But if you reflect it wrongly and with lack of mindfulness and you reflect on it, then it turns into, as I said, into fear, into a lot of doubt about your life and so on. Then better you stop the whole thing. And of course, it's already a wrong way of doing it already. Yeah. So one has to be careful. As long as you have mindfulness, as long as you have mindfulness, then the mindfulness knows that it's going into fear. And then it's going to fear, then you just drop it off back again to this one. Then because of the mindfulness, you know that there's a sense of urgency arises, then you stir it up for a while until the sloth and torpor overcome the sloth and torpor, then well and good. Yeah? Also in the samatha way, if you don't do reflection on the light or contemplation on death, maybe this contemplation on death, we're going to do it in one of the weeks, one of the coming weeks. We're going to do this contemplation on death also, like before with Dhamma talk. Another way of samatha meditation is to perhaps maybe do certain meditation that you are familiar with. Maybe if you are familiar with metta, in the morning, for example, if you are drowsy, and you try this, try that, but the mind doesn't really build up yet. So might as well try something else completely. Try metta and see if you are familiar with it. If you are familiar with metta, then you drop off all your this one. Then restart the mind with metta. May I be free from harm and danger. Not just go through the words, but make sure that you know its meaning. If you go through the may I be free from harm and danger, in your own understanding, what do you mean by free from harm and danger? What is harm to you? What is danger to you? Uh, what is free from physical? What usually what we say? Physical suffering. What is physical suffering to you? Physical suffering means here pain, there pain, sickness of the body, and so on. At least you must able to understand its meaning. Understood its meaning, but you only just put one word there. And you must really mean it. You know that physical suffering, but you wish yourself to be free from that physical suffering, and you must learn to mean the words well. If you don't mean it well, may I be free from physical suffering, but your heart is not there, then mentally you are just like a parrot only. I say something, you say, mentally you go through something. I say something, mentally you go through something. But there's the heart, no feeling. So, in other words, you must have feeling for it. You mean it. You mean yourself to be well and to be free from physical suffering. Although at that moment of time, you may be having a broken arm, or maybe you're having a this one. You wish yourself. That doesn't mean that you must be no suffering at all. It's not that. It's a wish. It's a wish. It's a truly genuine wish. Then when you do that, then only you stir up the mind. If you just go through, may I be free from suffering, may I be free from mental suffering, may I be physical suffering, then the heart no nothing. Then no matter how long you do metta, no effect. So you must learn to free. So if you do it, may he be free from harm and danger. So the person, or may she, the person, you also must know that who is the person. You don't have to imagine his face or her face, You don't have to imagine, but you must sincerely wish the person to be free from harm and danger. You sincerely wish the person to be well and healthy, for example. You wish him to be well and healthy, although he may be sick, Metta is not about what condition is in it. It's about truly you wish the person to be that. Whether the person is healthy or not healthy does not matter. What is truly a genuine wish? Yeah. So your job is just to make sure that when you do this type of things, you arouse the mind, the alertness, the clarity, then it will work. Because this time, when the metta arises, because it arises with mindfulness, then that metta is a wholesome mind. It overcomes the drowsiness. So might as well, if vipassana cannot work, then do something else that works. Then after that, when the mindfulness gets clearer, stronger, then drop the metta, switch it back to the rising and falling, switch it back to the mindfulness. Then the whole mind becomes alert and just carry on. At least you save half the sitting. At least you save half the morning, maybe. Rather than just go through the drowsiness and nothing else you can do. Walk also not right, sit also not right. Okay, so all right, we'll stop here for tonight. Yeah. Now tomorrow we're going to have we have a Q&A session. And then the Q&A session, then again, where's the... Okay. Hold on, hold on. Now, again here, for those people who are online, then your cut-off time, if you want to ask questions about meditation, about the Dhamma talk or something connected with the Dhamma, then you ask a question, you send your questions to Sister Hundeng, or those who are on Zoom or on Facebook or on YouTube. And for those over here, the box is there. You bring it to the respective places. Then maybe by 5, 6 p.m., I'll pick it up. By lunchtime also, I'll pick up one time. Then evening, I'll pick up another time. Okay? All right. Now we share merits. Idang me bawanang nibbanasa pachayo hotu. May my mental cultivation be a condition for the realization of Nibbana. Imang no punya bagang sabba satanang dema. We share these merits with our departed ones, with all beings and all the devas. Sabbe satta sukhi hontu anumodantu. May all beings be happy. May they rejoice in these merits. Sadhu.